Look at that body. Look at that body. Oh, look at that body. Believe it or not, I made that song up first. They stole it from me. Whoever made that song. Ask my baby mama. I swear to God, I was singing it about her. I'd be like, look at that body. But my version was like, look at that body. Look at that body. Then I throw in that little, look at that body. Make that money. Look at that body. Make that money. Anyway. That's besides the point. Nice sporty looking body on that Mazda 6 2015. Shine on. Hello. Back again. Your boy, the average car review guy. With a look at a Mazda 6 2015. My first Mazda that I've done a review on. And I gotta say, right off the bat, it's nicer inside than I expected it to be. But I don't have a lot of time, so I'm gonna make this a quick one. Quick shot around the cabin. This one is black on black. And it's updated. A lot nicer than the previous Mazdas I've seen. On the wheel, you got a lot of tech going on. All kind of controls. Cruise over here. Everything for your radio and volume and phone over on the left side. The big Mazda logo hitting you. That should be expected. Your speedometer and RPM readers are old school, I guess you could say now. It's not digital. A lot of cars are going digital, but this is the classic standard look. AC vents in a slightly different location than what we're used to. We got them in the middle area of the console. Clock as well. And big, easy to operate climate controls. The 3 simple knobs. No fancy touch screen or anything like that. Classic knobs. And, you know, I don't mind the knobs. I think knobs are proven technology. They're reliable. They won't go out on you like a digital screen might. Up here, on the other hand, we have the radio. And that is digital, apparently. Push button start. Let's take a look at it. This is what your lighting looks like. White. Yeah. Audio, phone adjustments all on the screen here. And of course it is touch operated. But it's a nice illuminated screen. No problem there. Do have a problem with my focus though. The engine is a little loud. Does that mean it's powerful? We'll see. Nice accents on your gear shift. Little chrome touches. Cup holder. Imitation leather wrapped emergency brake. I wouldn't say that's real leather. The seats are a sturdy cloth material, not really leather in this trim, but it's a sturdy, feels like durable material. Mazda 6, as you can see on the floor mat. Trying to get this review in before the sun goes down. You know, daylight savings time is killing me. Nice little plastic accent across this console. Overall, I can't say that I can find too much to complain about on the way it looks on the console area. These are, you know what? It feels like it's a plastic underneath, but a real thin layer of a soft touch material on the door here. This is definitely soft touch. On the dash, all soft. Ooh, and a nicely wrapped leather steering wheel. Oh, this is a nice texture. It's not, you know, in those Dodges that loud, you can hear your hand slide texture. This is like a real leather, but it's humid where I'm at, and it's kind of sticky. You know, that humidity makes it sticky. That might get on my nerves. Like, it might get nasty over time, but it feels good. First, you have USB and a charger, standard car charger plug. You know, not a lot of room in there though. Might not be able to make it out with the black on black. Let me quickly hop in the back seat and see how much room is back there. Here we are, pretty spacious. You can make it out better with that light right there, huh? I got a nice amount of room. And the compartment for magazines or whatever, as usual. Big silver trim on the door to give it a little pop, but no vents or anything back here for the passengers. So the seats are indented for the main 2 backseat riders. You got an indentation here that makes it more comfortable. In the middle, you know, you're out of luck if you got to ride in that spot. Fold down cup holders in the back seat. And here's the main shot of the center console, which I happen to think looks pretty good. Back up a little bit and get the full shot. Simple, yet eye-catching. Nice black and chrome trim. Looks pretty modern. Can't knock it too much. Except, you know, it's kind of, still feels like they kind of cut a few corners and threw in some plastics. But hey, kudos on the looks, Mazda. That's that trunk. A lot of space. Working with something, Mazda. I can put my groceries in there with no problem. Let's see. Oh, look at that. Can you fold the seat down? What does this do? Is this a button? You pull it. You can pull this, and I think you can let the seat down and get more room. So, already a huge trunk that you can enhance. Nice. So here I am on the road, and it's pretty cool outside. So you know what happens with these tire pressure lights. They just pop on whenever the temperature changes. Anyway, the engine is a little noisy on startup, but once you get going, it's pretty nice. Don't hear it as much. I definitely feel like I'm sitting in a semi-sporty vehicle. I feel like I'm sitting low to the ground. I think they're going for that sporty feel, you know, Mazda, zoom, zoom. I think they still use that for their ad campaign. Let's give it a little gas and see. Ooh, nice. I was expecting the engine to kind of struggle, but you know how it is when you sit in the car and you just feel like, oh, okay, you want to stomp the gas? That ain't nothing. I'm gonna show you what I can do. And it just keeps up with your foot. It's like you accelerate and you're just gliding. Like you ain't doing nothing. You ain't saying nothing but a thing. Let's take it up to 80, 90. Let's get on the Autobahn. That's the feeling I got. It accelerated pretty effortlessly. Let's see how it handles this curve at the stop sign. Nice. Oh, this car, it drives real nice. Real nice. The wheel feels good to handle. The engine feels capable. The turn felt good. And you know, this is a quick driving experience. Just basically a test drive. But I gotta say, it was nice from what I'm feeling so far. I can usually tell right away if I'm gonna like the driving experience or not. So this one gets good marks, Mazda. The Mazda 6 performs pretty nicely. So as the sun sets on this day in my time with the Mazda 6, I think I'll come to my overall conclusion. I also noticed that this particular trim or model didn't have automatic lights, by the way. You know what? Let me check one more thing right quick before I hit y'all with my final opinion. Does it have a rear view camera? I didn't check that. Yes, it does. Cause that's gonna you know, affect my score, you know? Cause even though this is probably a base trim, things like that are now considered base level. Rear view cameras and automatic lights are pretty standard now. That's why I rate some cars lower than others, even though the car overall might be nice, you know. In 2015, you should expect things like a rear view camera and automatic lights and Bluetooth and MP3 connections. All that. If the car doesn't include that even in the base model, you might want to look elsewhere. Anyway, you know, the light thing is not a big deal, but that camera, that's a good look, Mazda. So, we're gonna close this one out. I know this was a quick review, but I'm trying to beat the sunset for y'all so y'all can at least see what I'm doing. Makes it a little harder to crank out the reviews in the dark. But I love the way the car drives. It handles well. It steers well. The engine is a little loud, but you know, it's got some power to it. I really do like the way the interior looks, and it probably looks even more fleshed out in the top level trim of the Mazda 6s. But that being said, there's still some cut corners. There's still some missteps, like the wheel. Even though I like the material, I can see it getting on my nerves. That's a personal thing, though. You know, if in humidity it gets kind of sticky. Like my hand right now feels sticky. Or if you might have some kind of lotion on your hands, that would irritate me during the whole driving experience. And this cut corners, you know, you're trying to hide that this is plastic with a very thin layer of a soft material. You know, things like that ding it a little bit. But that being said, you know, it's still a nice vehicle, so I'm gonna give it a 3.8 out of 5. If it wasn't for those little gripes, I would give it a 4, a solid 4. But I'll give it a 3.8 based on my personal taste. But it's definitely fun to drive. So if you want to zoom, check out the Mazda 6. My little gripes might not affect your personal opinion. But I give it a solid 3.8. And I'm gonna sign out because I got some business to handle. Check out on the next one with more light.